Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. May 3rd, 2018.
The Kuhner Report is powered by Kelly Financial Services. Cleaning up your financial bull. Get the peace of mind that you deserve at Kelly Financial Services.
Rudy Giuliani goes nuclear. Okay, my friends, in an absolutely stunning interview with Sean Hannity yesterday, what you now see, and it's pretty obvious to me now, that Trump is now surrounding himself with a new legal team, and now the gloves are off. In fact, Trump promised that he would bring in new people onto his team who would be much more aggressive. As I've termed it, he needs a wartime consigliere. Well, he's got a wartime consigliere. My friends, before I get into that story, I just want to give all of you a very quick update. I have a fresh column out on the migrant caravan that has crossed into the United States, and I asked the question nobody has the guts to ask. Is Mexico our enemy? And I'm urging all of you, please, Kuhner Country, go to WRKO.com/Kuhner, Kuhner, click on my column. It's click on menu. It's Kuhner's Corner. There is my column, Is Mexico Our Enemy? And at 1:05, I'm going to have retired Colonel Doug McGregor, best-selling author. You've probably seen him on Tucker Carlson. He's been on Fox News now for a while. Expose what the Mexican government is really trying to do to the United States. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Iran deal at 1:05. But first, my friends, Rudy drops some bombs. And I mean high-velocity bombs, nuclear bombs. The big one, there's many. The big one, however, that has the mainstream media going absolutely berserk, really unhinged, wall-to-wall coverage, is Rudy Giuliani's admission to Hannity last night that contrary to what President Trump had said about a month ago, that he knew nothing about the payments by his lawyer, Michael Cohen, to the, let me say politely, to the former porn star, Stormy Daniels, that he didn't give any money, he didn't pay any money, he knew nothing about the payment. In fact, Rudy Giuliani reveals that, yes, the president did reimburse Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, as you know, signed a non-disclosure agreement on behalf of his client with Stormy Daniels, the former porn star, who alleges that they had sex. The media is calling it an affair. It was, by her own admission, a one-time thing 12 years ago at a hotel in Lake Tahoe when Trump was then a private citizen. She was paid $130,000. She wanted the $130,000. They signed a non-disclosure agreement. She now wants to break the NDA because she wants to make millions and millions of dollars. And Trump, apparently now, through Rudy Giuliani, has now admitted Michael Cohen, yes, acted as his lawyer. He initially paid her. And then Trump reimbursed Michael Cohen through his monthly retainer. And this way, he basically paid Cohen to pay Stormy Daniels. He never used a dime of campaign money. This was nothing to do with the campaign. This came straight from Trump's private funds through the law firm to Mickey Cohen. And Cohen first paid her, and then Trump reimbursed his lawyer. So there was no campaign finance violation. There was no use of campaign donations. There was no use of campaign funds. President Trump paid out of his own pocket and reimbursed his own lawyer. Roll it, Jared.
All right, as we continue with President Trump's attorney, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, I want to clarify something because I was asking you about Perkins Coie, and you said the money was not campaign money. I'm giving you a fact now that you don't know. It's not campaign money, no campaign violation. And I said, because they funneled through a law firm. I think we were talking about two different things there. I want to make sure.
I was talking about the $130,000 payment,
right,
the settlement payment, which is a very regular thing for lawyers to do. The question there was, the only possible violation there would be, was it a campaign finance violation, which usually would result in a fine, by the way, not this big stormtroopers coming in and breaking down his apartment and breaking down his office. That was money that was paid by his lawyer, the way I would do, out of his law firm funds or whatever funds, doesn't matter.
President Trump tweeted out this morning corroborating exactly what Rudy Giuliani said, and here is what President Trump tweeted out, and I want to read it to you because I think this is now the crux of the case. Quote, Mr. Cohen, an attorney, received a monthly retainer, not from the campaign and having nothing to do with the campaign, from which he entered into, through reimbursement, a private contract between two parties known as a non-disclosure agreement or NDA. These agreements are very common among celebrities and people of wealth. In this case, it is in full force and effect and will be used in arbitration for damages against Miss Clifford, i.e. Stormy Daniels. The agreement was used to stop the false and extortionist accusations made by her about an affair. Despite having already signed a detailed letter admitting that there was no affair, prior to its violation by Miss Clifford and her attorney, this was a private agreement. Money from the campaign or campaign contributions played no role in this transaction. Full stop. End of story. Now, let me tell you what I honestly think about this, and then I want to throw it open to you. 617-266-6868 is the number. There is a lot more to talk about, believe me, but let's lead now with the most scintillating and the most controversial aspect of Giuliani's interview yesterday. Let's say the first big bombshell. First of all, she was the one who wanted a non-disclosure agreement. She is the one that got her non-disclosure agreement. She wanted her $130,000. She got paid her $130,000. So the question I have is, what is she complaining about? And what is her shyster ambulance chaser lawyer complaining about? Your client got paid. She signed a non-disclosure agreement. And now, because she thinks she can, wiggle her rear end at strip clubs. By the way, men are flying in. She's doing her act now in Fort Worth, Dallas. Men are flying in from around the country. They're arriving 10 hours early at the strip clubs that she's taking her clothes off and paying extra money just to see her bare it all. So she's cashing in on this big time. But she wants a book. She wants a movie deal. She wants millions out of this. So she wanted $130,000, but that's not enough. Now she wants millions. Well, honey, I'm sorry. You asked for the NDA, you got your NDA, and you got your $130,000. So what's the problem here? That to me is point number one. Point number two. Whether you think Trump had an affair with her, had a one-night stand with her or not, the fact of the matter is, and there's no getting around this, she wrote a letter saying that she never had an affair or slept with the president of the United States, then private citizen Donald Trump. So she says in the letter that she signs saying he and I never had sexual relations. Now, she's changed her story. That's fine. But she violated the terms of the non-disclosure agreement. The only one that should be facing legal jeopardy is not President Trump. It's Stormy Daniels. So, did you lie when you signed that letter? Did you lie when you signed the non-disclosure agreement? Who's the one that broke the non-disclosure agreement? You did. That's why if I were President Trump, I would sue her rear end off. Now, as for the so-called campaign finance violations, the big story about Rudy Giuliani last night, you want to know the truth? I'll tell you the truth, like I'm in the confessional. The left is now desperate. They've got nothing on collusion because it didn't happen. They've got nothing on obstruction of justice. And they were trying to get him on some technical campaign finance violation. And now Trump just outsmarted them again, saying it was my personal money. So if I paid my lawyer through my personal money for him to settle this, and by the way, he is completely right. I know this for a fact because many celebrities and many wealthy people have told me. For example, Bill Kelly, who used to run around in that circle. Sometimes it's better to just pay somebody off, sign an agreement, rather than litigate in court. It's just not worth it. So they often will do these kinds of agreements just to get a lawsuit or get this issue off their back, even though it's completely false, it's completely bogus, and it's completely made up. So non-disclosure agreements are done by powerful, wealthy people, celebrities. Thousands of them are done every day. What's the problem? I mean, really, what's the problem? So now they were trying to nail him on some campaign finance violation, and it turns out they've got nothing there as well. But just for the sake of argument, okay, let me just concede everything. Here, let me just concede it all. He slept with her in 2006, okay? He paid his lawyer. And it amounts to some kind of a campaign finance, a campaign donation, or a campaign loan, okay? It's a minor technicality. At best, you know what it is? It's a fine. Rudy is completely right. It's a lousy fine. What, 200,000, 250,000, you pay it, that's it. It's not the crime of the century. And so I'm looking at this, I'll be honest with you. Drudge is going crazy with this story. You've got MSNBC leading with it nonstop. You have CNN leading with it nonstop. It's all front page New York Times, front page Washington Post. It's all everybody in Washington is talking about. It's either Russia, 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 or Stormy, Stormy, Stormy. And I'm looking objectively and I'm saying, okay, these are the facts. Just objectively, these are the facts, okay? If you assume the worst. Now, I don't believe it, but just let me concede. A private citizen, who everybody knew was a ladies' man for many years of his life, had a one-night stand with a former porn star 12 years ago, which she herself has admitted was completely consensual. So there's no sexual assault or rape or whatever. And she asked for a non-disclosure agreement. She got the non-disclosure agreement. She was paid $130,000. She wants to break the non-disclosure agreement. The lawyer said, absolutely not. You signed it. You're legally binded to it. And then she hires a shyster lawyer. They break the non-disclosure agreement. She goes on television and makes her pathetic accusations. And the lawyer gave her $130,000. And the client at the time said, okay, Michael, thanks for handling this for me. I get all kinds of crazy people making accusations, trying to extort me, etc. I'm going to boost your monthly retainer and I'll reimburse you, which is what clients do with their lawyers all the time. Hello? Really? Hello? Honestly, am I missing something here? So what's the story? And I said this to Grace last night because Grace was like, oh, my God, look at this story. I mean, you know, it's, oh, Trump looks like maybe Trump fudged the truth. Trump may have lied about this a month ago, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm looking at this and I said, you know, I would honestly have more respect. No, really. I'm being really serious. Like I'm in the confessional. I swear to you. I would have more respect for the media, the Democrats, the liberals, the Republican establishment, everybody now who is out to get and bring down Trump. Don't use porn stars. Don't use ridiculous non-disclosure agreements. Don't get into these arcane technical violations of campaign finance. Why don't you just come out and say, we don't accept the results of the 2016 election? We're not going to accept them, okay? That's it. We're not going to accept them. We will not accept that he won. We're going to turn this into a banana republic, and we want him out because we want him out because we want him out. Period, full stop. If you were at least honest about it, I would have more respect for you. So my question to you is this. What do you make of the new revelations by Giuliani? Do you think this will damage the president in any way? And should Rudy have revealed what he revealed yesterday? Did he make Trump look bad or a liar by saying, yes, he did reimburse his lawyer, Michael Cohen? 617-266-6868. Your calls next. Jerry on the Cape. You're up next. Go ahead. Jerry. Comrade, how are you, my friend?
Razvoyet. I have a message for you from Yuri. Coincidence is not coincidence. Das vidanya, comrade. Jeff, before we get into the 48 Shades of Mueller and all that stuff, campaign finance, Hillary, the DNC, and the Federal Elections Commission are being sued for money laundering of $84 million. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Well, the mainstream media doesn't talk about it.
They were illegally funneling money, and they've been exposed to the tune of $84 million, comrade.
That's correct.
But they're going after Trump on this $130,000 payment to Stormy.
Mueller, Rosenstein, and Comey all said the president wasn't being investigated, didn't they?
Yes.
Okay, that's number one. Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, good friend of the president's, great attorney, prosecuted the mob, put a lot of them in jail. He's not a defense attorney, is he?
He's a prosecutor.
He's a prosecutor, isn't he? Jeff, when Comey was fired, Mueller met with the president the day before he was named special counsel, didn't he?
And he wanted to be FBI director again.
Disqualified. There's a law on the books. He served for 10 years and then received a 2-year exemption waiver. Correct?
Yes.
He couldn't serve anymore. Do you think the president didn't know that? There was a reason why he met with Mueller that afternoon. I don't know what it is. I have my ideas on it.
Well, what do you think? I'm just curious. Why do you think he met with Mueller?
I think he made Mueller an offer he couldn't refuse. I think he presented evidence to former Director Mueller about his involvement in CISPIA and Uranium One and a number of other things, Jeff. But, Jeff, what about if during the course of the raid by the Southern District of New York that there was information in the files of Donald Trump that were ascertained by the FBI and by the Justice Department that had nothing to do with President Trump, but had to do with other individuals who committed crimes? They would have to bring that to light, wouldn't they? In theory, yes. That's my theory.
Interesting. As always, interesting, comrade. And thank you very much for that call. Look, to me, what's obvious is this. Comey wanted to keep his job as FBI director. Trump fired him. He was bitter, and that's why he wanted a special counsel. Robert Mueller wanted to hang on or come back to his old job as FBI director or to be the next attorney general. In fact, Rudy pointed that out yesterday. He said, you know what kind of conflict of interest we're dealing with here? Mueller wanted to be attorney general. That's what he wanted. And Trump said no. So you've got people that wanted to preserve the deep state, out to destroy Trump. And then when he basically told them to go fly a kite, they said, oh yeah, blank me, blank you. And they have been out to destroy him ever since. And so now they're trying to use this ridiculous payment to his own lawyer to silence this woman a classic non-disclosure agreement. That's what's going on here. And they're trying to claim that, it may have violated campaign finance reform, and they're trying to turn it into the crime of the century. It's not going to fly. And I think Rudy just checkmated them on that point. Now, coming up next, Giuliani goes on the offensive, all out. He says the Mueller investigation is tainted. He calls Comey a liar and a pervert. And he says, you want to talk? The president will sit down for 2 to 3 hours on a limited scope of questions. Giuliani wants the president to sit down and answer a few questions. I'll play those clips and I'll ask you, is Rudy giving the president good advice? Or should Trump avoid Mueller like the plague? 617-266-6868. The White House is refusing to comment on the Rudy Giuliani statements. Nick Bovey is in the WRKO newsroom. He's got all of that and so much more. Take it away, Nick.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
1236 here on the great WRKO. Okay, 617-266-6868. We got a couple of open lines if you want to jump on. My friends, as you know, we're going to continue to take your calls, I promise. We had Dr. Scott Lively on yesterday. He has stunned the political establishment here in Massachusetts, winning nearly 30% of the delegates at the state Republican convention. He is now on the verge of challenging Charlie Baker in the Republican primary. I think, by the way, he's going to beat him. If he can make it on the ballot, I think he's going to beat Baker, to be frank with you. He will be holding, we need to get over 10,000 signatures. He will be holding a special signing event this Saturday, 2 days from today. It's going to be at the Worcester Town Hall, right near the place, in fact, at the place where the Republican Party was born in 1854. Highly symbolic. I am urging all of you, if you want to take the Republican Party back in Massachusetts, if you want to give the establishment a war, a political war, one they haven't had here in a long time, let's show our support for Scott. Go down to Worcester, help him get those signatures. In fact, we'll even take pictures with you. We need to get many more over 10,000 because they're going to try to disqualify as many as possible because they don't want him on the ballot. So please, I'm urging all of you, this Saturday, it's going to be in Worcester at the Worcester Town Hall, right there in downtown, at the exact spot where the Massachusetts Republican Party was born. Highly symbolic because we're on the verge of taking it back. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this is from 781. You can text us WRKO, whatever your message is, to 70470. And I think 781 here nailed it about the revelation by Giuliani that Trump reimbursed Michael Cohen, his lawyer, for the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels. Jeff, Trump had to come out in front of this because the Mueller raid on his lawyer would use this as a weapon. Bingo. What I think happened here, and I think it's pretty obvious, when they kicked the doors down at Michael Cohen's office, at his hotel room, at his home, and took everything, every file he had, every computer he had, every tape he had, everything that he had, they were pouring over it. And that's when the Trump team said, oh, ho, ho, Mr. President, you better lay out exactly how that payment was made, because they're going to go after you on this and try to nail you in a perjury trap. And that's why Giuliani went out and said, look, it came from Trump's personal funds. He reimbursed his lawyer through a retainer. After he went on his own, paid off Stormy Daniels. There was no violation. No campaign finance laws were broken. This was a private deal, an NDA that celebrities and wealthy people do all the time, full stop. They had to get out in front of it because Mueller and the FBI wanted to use it to bring him down. Which now brings me to the other bombshell that Rudy dropped yesterday on Hannity's show. Listen to him openly say that the investigation is now completely and utterly tainted, and that even if they try to issue a subpoena against Trump, as Mueller now has been threatening to do, to force the president to sit down and have him go through an interview. Mueller, as you know, wants him to answer 49 questions at least, wants this interview to go on for at least 2 to 3 days, and compel him by going to court and having a grand jury compel him to sit down. That now Rudy Giuliani is saying his subpoena will mean absolutely nothing because Mueller was supposed to look into Russia collusion. And it's clear he's got nothing on Russia collusion. Absolutely nothing. And so this investigation has been based on a pack of lies through illegal leaks that's out to get the president of the United States. And if they're using James Comey as their star witness, which it appears that they are, a proven liar, a proven leaker, in fact, somebody who committed numerous crimes himself, who belongs behind bars, he goes, we will rip him apart in court. We will destroy James Comey in court, and we will destroy that subpoena. If it's a war they want, it's a war we're going to give them. Roll cut 1, Jared.
And I think what I offer to this is something unique. I'm a lawyer who knows the criminal justice system as well as anybody in America. I'm also a very good friend of Donald Trump. And I think I have the respect of Mueller, the FBI, the Justice Department.
You should.
Jeff Sessions was my colleague, not just in the campaign, but back in 1981 when he was U.S. Attorney in Alabama. I don't think I'm going to... They know the decision I make is going to be in the best interest, not just of my client, but the United States. If they're objective, we can work something out. If they're not, then we have to shake hands and basically go into a litigation over do they have the power to subpoena. And I think they lost that power. This is a completely tainted investigation.
Look, I like Rudy, and I can see what he's doing. Okay, he's very crafty. He's very smart. He's very shrewd. He knows politics. He plays it at a very high level. What he's essentially trying to do is saying, look, we want to make a deal. We're trying to come across as reasonable. We're not going to give you 2 days. We're not going to give you hundreds of questions. We're not going to give you an open-ended interview where you can ask these vague, airy questions and have my client ramble on and ramble on. We're willing to sit down for 2 to 3 hours if you have specific, limited, sharp questions that you want the president to answer. The reason why I think he's doing this, to be honest with you, is to make Trump seem reasonable. It's a public relations war. Because if he's serious, then honestly, I've got to start asking, is Rudy Giuliani drinking? Because there is no way in hell, whether they agree to 2 hours or 6 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours, Trump should never sit down with Rudy Giuliani. I don't care if it's a 2-hour limit with narrow questions. Sorry, with Robert Mueller. Trump should not sit down with Robert Mueller for 2 hours or 3 hours with a limited number of questions because it is clearly a perjury trap. I would do everything in my power to keep the president from getting in that room with Mueller. And so I think Rudy's just playing politics, PR, and optics. I hope that's what it is, because if he's serious about trying to negotiate a deal, you might as well just give him a gun and just have the president blow his political brains out. Listen now to Rudy Giuliani say, if we go to court, we are going to carve up James Comey and we're going to expose him for the liar, the leaker, and the criminal that he is. Roll cut 3, Jared.
You have an investigation in which Mueller is selected the day after he's turned down for FBI director by Rosenstein, who was there when Mueller was turned down. There are thousands of people that could have been selected for that job. Also a friend of James Comey, and James Comey seems to be their core of their investigation. He's telling the truth, the president isn't. I know James Comey, I know the president. Sorry, Jim, you're a liar. A disgraceful liar. Every FBI agent in America has his head down because of you. It would have been good for God if God had kept you out of being head of the FBI.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. It would have been good for God had God kept you out of being FBI director.
Dropping G-bombs. Whoa.
I mean, you want to talk about giving it to a guy with both barrels. All right. And this morning on Fox and Friends, he dropped another atomic bomb. Listen to him now basically throw down the gauntlet to Mueller and say, there is no basis for your investigation. You guys are investigating nothing. Roll it, Jared.
We got Kim Jong-un impressed enough to be releasing 3 prisoners today. And I've got to go there, and Jay Sekulow and the Rasners, we have to go there and prepare him for this silly deposition about a case in which he supposedly colluded with the Russians, but there's no evidence of that. I mean, everybody forgets the basis of the case is dead. Sessions should step in and close it and say, enough's enough.
He's completely right. He's completely right. So, look, let me ask you this. Rudy now is obviously playing the role of attack dog. He's going after Comey. He's going after Mueller. He's going after Andrew McCabe. He's going after Rosenstein. He's even calling out Jeff Sessions. What do you make of Rudy's performance? Is he the kind of pit bull lawyer that Trump needs? 617-266-6868 is the number. Tom in New Jersey, you're up next. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Jeff. God bless you. Hey, Jeff, I need about a minute. I got 3 points, and I can do them as usual very quickly.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jeff. First of all, I have to praise you. We have to take time out to praise the Kuhner man, Jeff, and I'm not on your payroll. We've only met once, but you're a man that deserves praise, and I'll be very quick. While Michael Savage is dilettanting saving the elephants, and while Mark Levin spent about a year shilling and covering for Jeff Sessions, you have been hitting the bullseye on a daily basis. You've been calling this out from day one, and I praise you, and I'm honored to know you. You've done a fabulous job.
Thank you. Well, Tom, if I'm not here to speak the truth, then really, what's the point of me being behind this microphone?
And you truly live it, Jeff. And your editorial freedom shows on a daily basis. And that's why you have such good listeners, and you should be syndicated, but we won't get into that now.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.
God bless you. You're welcome. Jeff, point 2. This Avenatti punk, I want to remind him, he seems to spend day and night with Grandma Stormy. I want to remind Mr. Avenatti, the punk attorney, that if he's being paid with sex, if he has been paid or will be paid with sex, that's a very serious violation. So he wants to be careful how he's being paid. I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm just warning Mr. Avenatti, because I'm sure his ethics are quite impeccable.
Tom, so that's Stormy's lawyer for everybody. What do you make of him right away running on the in front of the cameras, CNN, MSNBC, saying now that, oh, this revelation is earth-shattering. Yeah. Trump used his personal money to reimburse his lawyer. What do you make of that ambulance chaser now trying to turn this into a crime?
He went on Colbert, and Avenatti, you got nothing. Giuliani disposed of all that. He says it's perfect. It wasn't campaign funds, and it's perfectly ethical and legal. Okay? So he's got nothing. My last major point, Jeff, is Rudy Giuliani is our Wyatt Earp. Here's what he should do. Under no circumstances should President Trump sit down with the gangster, the mule man. Rudy Giuliani has already said that all the crimes have been committed by the government. By the government. So why would you put your blessing on what they're doing and continue going forward? Here's what you do. Rudy Giuliani, give them 10 days to turn off this illegal prosecution. If they don't turn it off, you sue the whole gang of them, as he wants to do. You call in the FISA judge. You call in Stroke. And you call in the whole gang, Comey. You call in the mule man. You call them all in to testify as to what they did, including the Clinton Foundation. Sue them all.
Amen.
Bring them all in.
Amen. Amen. Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, Trump and Giuliani, and you take them all down. I'm with you, Tom. It's time now for Trump and his new attack dog, Rudy, who I love. It's time for them to say they have declared war on us. Well, now we're declaring war on them.
WRKO.
12:54 here on the great WRKO. A really interesting text. This is from 617. Jeff, Giuliani said last night in the Hannity interview that he regrets not having taken the U.S. Attorney General position. Was he offered that job by President Trump? Oh, I can tell you this for an absolute certainty. Yes. Trump's first pick to be Attorney General was Rudy Giuliani. And Rudy wanted to be Secretary of State. And to Trump's fairness, right, to be fair to Trump's credit, Trump said, I'm sorry, Rudy, look, you're qualified to do many things, but not to be Secretary of State. And Rudy said, oh, forget it, that's the only job I want. So Sessions was, in fact, his number two. Sessions was lobbying him for the job as well. Now, I think it's going to go down in history as maybe one of the greatest mistakes that Giuliani did not take the Attorney General job, because it would have changed the entire direction of the Russia investigation. There would have been no special counsel, no Robert Mueller, no cloud hanging over the President of the United States. It would have changed the entire trajectory of his term and of his presidency. And so now Rudy's acting as his lawyer, and I think, frankly, a damn good one. Peter in New Hampshire, you're up next. Go ahead, Peter.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
I agree completely about Giuliani. What a mistake that was. I mean, think about, this isn't just some legal case. This is our lives. You know, this is our country. You know, a year and a half of this nonsense. My question is, what exactly is Giuliani's role? Well, I mean, what authority, quote unquote, does he have? Is he just someone whispering in his ear, or does he have the ability to take any action?
He's now a senior member of Trump's legal team. Basically, it's him and Jay Sekulow. Those are the two big lawyers. And he's negotiating on behalf of the president with Robert Mueller on whether he will actually sit down and be interviewed by the special counsel. So he speaks in an official capacity.
If he lets Trump do that, I mean, he should. It's game over. I think Giuliani may have been out of the game for too long, or he's playing some sort of chess that we don't know about. But that would just be a colossal mistake. Jeff, one quick thing on the great Stormy Daniels. Just to remind the audience, you know, the United States Congress, you know, those crooks down there, spend taxpayers' money every day of the week to cover up sexual indiscretions. And you're looking at what they're putting Trump through for allegedly something he did as a private citizen, maybe once upon a time, every day of the week, as we speak. Our money's being used to cover up for those knuckleheads.
Well, you read my mind. They even use our money.
They use our money.
He's using his money. I mean, for something that happened 12 years ago, if it even happened. You know what I'm saying, Peter? They use our money every day, every week. This guy's using his money from 12 years ago, and they're acting like it's the Holocaust, like it's the crime of the century.
And Jeff, if all of this is evidence of anything, it's evidence of one thing and one thing only. It's the absolute collapse of our culture. It just has gone totally down the toilet.
Amen. Amen. Great call, Peter. Bart in Cambridge, you're up next. Go ahead, Bart.
Sanctuary City Rudy cannot be trusted. How could he make such a mistake and put his boss in the street last night? Did he vote for Trump or Hillary? I don't trust him. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Bart. I think Rudy's sincere. I mean, he worked on Trump's campaign. He advocated for Trump. He campaigned for Trump. He spoke out on behalf of Trump. I mean, you may say he shouldn't have said anything about Stormy Daniels, but honestly, I think they had no choice. I think the raid, they had all of the files from Cohen's office. So I think Rudy said, let's get in front of this before they use it against us. That's my reading anyway. Russ in Boston. Russ, I've got a minute. The floor is yours. Go.
I got 2 comments, Jeff. First,
yes.
All unenrolled people vote for Scott Wiley Jeff, now that you said I got 1 minute, you stifled me here a little bit. But anyways, yeah, all independents, you've got to vote for Scott Lively in the primary.
Yes.
And other Democrats, again, the Democratic primary is nothing but a waste of time. All they have is putting up a bunch of straws. So re-enroll as unenrolled and vote for Scott Wiley.
Russ,
anyways,
anything on Giuliani?
As far as Giuliani is concerned, Jeff, basically I agree with you. But I respect Rudy Giuliani and his judgment, and I've loved him since he put a lot of the mafia in prison. You know what I mean? The guy has guts. He's got great instinct when it comes to the judicial system. So if he was my lawyer, I would do what he's advising.
Thank you very much for that call, Russ. Okay. Scott Lively on Saturday is going to needs your help to collect signatures. He's going to be in Worcester at the Worcester Town Hall downtown this Saturday from 9 to 5. 9 a.m. to 5. Come and see him. Help sign a signature. Get your name there so we can get him on the ballot officially to challenge Charlie Baker for the Republican primary. Coming up next, Colonel Doug McGregor. Is Mexico our enemy? The answer will shock you.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 100.7 WZLX HD2 Boston, an iHeart radio station.